In a world where horrid stenches and piercing screams come not from the realms of fantasy, but from the nightmare of reality. Come two heroes, bonded by love and the kind of desperation only parents can know.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Behold, RPGs and Baby Makes 3, the greatest podcast in the history of all podcasts, by parents who have made a podcast about being gamers with a baby. Did I mention it's a podcast? Here are your hosts, Gretchen Hilmers and Rob Hessler.
All right, Rob Hessler and Gretchen Hilmers here with a special episode of RPGs and Baby Makes 3. We've got Jeremy Childrey on, and he is from Gordinaak Games. And we talked about him, I think, recently, or at least his game company, because we played the Troika Florida Man sphere that he made in his Cocaine and Alligators supplement that you did. So we're going to talk about all your games, actually, Jeremy, because there's a lot of stuff that we really are interested in and really do think is funny, but also it's really well done. But talk a little bit about Cocaine and Alligators, because it's inspired, I will say.
All right. So, like in Miami, there's a really intense drug trade, right? And cocaine. And then there's a lot of these prehistoric animals in the waters, the bodies of water around here. My bad. Sorry. It was just like a poor attempt at like a joke about the name. But I don't know, man. I just so like a couple. I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe a year, maybe two, something like that. Like a bunch of people were having a conversation in a Discord, and we started talking about like Florida Man and shit like that, and somebody said something about somebody should make this a game, and then I was like, yeah, I'll do it, right? And then like I just kind of like left it alone. And actually there was another person involved in this at one point, right? But they didn't do any work, and I deleted all of their stuff anyway. So they just were like, hey, let's work on this thing. I was like, hey, let's work on this thing together. And they're like, yeah. And then I did it all.
That's the worst thing about group projects, when the other person doesn't uphold the other end.
Yeah, I guess the fun part about it in the writing world and stuff like that is you just don't put their name on it and stuff like that, right? But like, I guess in school I would have let them. In school, I would have put their name on it. I would have just been like, but because I probably would have wanted to do it all myself anyway in school. But like now I can just be like, no, you didn't work on this. But anyway, and then like I started a bunch of backgrounds a while ago, and then it kind of just got shelved. And then the Troika Fest thing came up, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to power through. And from the 15th of April or whatever this year to the end of the month, I powered through and I got it done done and laid out on like the last day or whatever. And
That's pretty amazing. That's fast.
And got it released and got all the art and everything like that. I drew like some of it. And then I can't remember his name off top. It's in hold on, I have the book open.
Zeph
Siebler. Yeah. So he did like the good drawings, right? And then I did the other ones, right? And you can tell which ones he did for sure. But yeah, we banged it out. Like Zeph was pretty amazing. Shout out Zeph. I didn't even tell him I was coming on today. I probably should have told him, but shout out Zeph or whatever, because he like I was like, I have like some money and like a little bit of money. I need somebody to do some not that good art, right? And then Zeph was like, I'll do it, right? And then he comes out with this shit, right? And I'm like, oh man. And then I had to give him more money. I didn't even have I was like, I didn't even have the money, but I had to give him more money because it was too good, right? But yeah,
the art is so. I mean, okay, just kind of to give people a bit of a heads up. The art is okay. Well, first of all, Florida Man, for those people who are out there, I'm sure everybody knows the Florida Man memes, and you can also just you do a Google search and type in Florida Man, and then like the search results are
endless
just
entertainment,
totally insane. Yeah, so they're just crazy, and so that's what the game is all based on. But the art is really good. First of all, it's 42 pages long. I think it's like, I don't know, it's like less than $10. I don't remember exactly how much I bought it for. Maybe $5, $10 or something.
yeah,
like
$5. I think I have it for is
$5 on itch.
Yeah.
And it's a really, all these backgrounds, all this stuff, but the art really fits it though. I mean, you say bad art, but the bad art is good art in the context of what the game is, because these characters are just I mean, they kind of deserve bad art, like the backgrounds and the characters.
Yeah, and that so that's the other thing I forgot to say is that I think 99% of these are based on some sort of actual headline, right? I think you could probably type Florida Man and then Google each one of the backgrounds, and then that'll come up. I think a couple of them are just experience based, because I also left that out. I live here in this the madness of Florida, right?
I was wondering.
I live here. I lived here since 2013, and I also went to elementary school here, right? So I stuff that doesn't even make national news happens around here. It's absolutely insane. We have a lot of murders, and they say there's no murders here. If you go and look how many murders are in my town, they'll be like, not that many. And then you go, and then 4 murders happened this year. So it's like somebody's lying about the murders. But yeah, stuff like that.
Well, it's funny because and it was great because when we played, I ended up so we just rolled randomly, which is one of the great things about Troika. I love the randomness of Troika, and I ended up with a jail infiltrator, and the jail infiltrator was basically this guy got out of jail, but he it was Friday night and he got high and he really wanted to go and hang out with his buddies his jail buddies, so he tried to break into jail. And so I just did a search because I wanted to see him, and I found the guy. And actually, when we played the game, I ended up playing the guy that was the jail infiltrator. He got caught because first of all, it was really hard to break into the place, but he ended up getting stuck on the razor wire when he was trying to get back into jail, and he was hanging from it. Gretchen played the bee thief.
Oh, the bee thief! I had a great time with that one. And it's kind of funny because we have a friend who is a beekeeper, and so I kind of modeled the character after him, which was fun.
I actually watched your guys' stream. I actually saw it. I think it wasn't live. It was after the fact, but I actually watched, and it just always the adventure. I think, did you guys do you did do the one from the book?
Yeah,
right?
It's the one from the book. But of course, he kind of added a lot too, because it's just a couple of pages in the book there.
Yeah. Every time it just everything is bad and just crazy at the same time. And I've had a few sessions of it now myself. I've ran it I think 2 or 3 times, and it's always exactly what you would expect from the backgrounds, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a totally serious sphere or anything like that. Troika is kind of psychedelic in and of itself anyway, but that being said, just so people out there are listening that are clear and understand this isn't it's a very well put together product. I mean, I will say there's the there's all the backgrounds, of course. And like I said, it's 42 pages long. There's great little drawings. These backgrounds are so funny. I mean, like alligator with sunglasses, aggressive farter. I mean,
I'm the most proud of the aggressive farter art like that. I've never been more proud of a drawing that I've done. Like not one drawing that I've done, I could be like, I want to get that one framed actually and put it like on my wall, like right over here or something like that. Also, did you guys know that it was going to print? Did you guys know that?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, Exalted Funeral actually picked it up.
That's great.
They're doing a print run. Yeah, and as soon as it's ready, it'll be ready, right? One of those. I don't have to deal. That's the one thing that's the coolest with this versus like my last project is I don't have to deal with any kind of logistics at all. Like I already did the project, it's done, right? Like I already gave it to them. They already, they, so they got to take care of all of the shipping and all of that, right? Like I can tell you, from experience that shipping is like a lot of books is pretty I'm not going to say awful because it feels like validating, right? You're like, right? Like, well, my mom helped me ship a bunch of them off, right? And like a bunch of her hair got like stuck in the tape. So like somebody out there in the country somewhere in the US, they have like some of my mom's hair. And actually I think like one person did like I don't know what it's called, like a relay service or something like that, where like they get the package and then send it to you overseas or whatever, right? I guess you can like hire somebody for this. I had no idea. But yeah, they might have my mom's hair too.
That's really funny. And of course you can find this, you're on Drive Through RPG, but I picked up mine on Itch, and you can just search for it.
I don't think I put it on Drive Through.
Okay.
And actually, if anybody's listening, don't buy anything of mine from Drive Through. Buy it from Itch instead.
Yeah, Itch is way better.
Drive Through is just a pain in the ass, like to kind of get through their filters and what they want you to do, like. So I don't like I just have stuff on Drive Through because you might get some and it really hasn't even helped me. I get much more traction on Itch. I might even switch altogether. I think most of my stuff is on Itch anyway.
Yeah, in fact, so I kind of want to talk about some of the other stuff that you've done because on your Itch page there's you've got five different products that you put out in, and one of them is the supplement Gordinaak, which you did a Kickstarter for earlier this year, and it's for the Mothership RPG, and it was a really successful Kickstarter. First of all, congratulations on that, over $10,000. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. And I wasn't really aware. I kind of remember. Was it part of the was it part of Zinequest?
Yeah.
Okay, so it vaguely seemed familiar to me. I'm not really a mech guy, but now that I've played your stuff, I'm kind of like tempted by this for sure.
You don't even have to use the mechs, dude. The mechs it's not even the main part. There's like it's 44 pages and 2 pages are mech stuff. Right?
Oh, see, there you go. Well, Mothership is a really great game. Talk a little bit about Gordinaak because people can pick that up. Of course, your company is Gordinaak Games, but this particular supplement that is for use with Mothership is called Gordinaak. So talk a little bit about the game, and then I want to talk about your logo as well, because it kind of reminded me of your company logo.
Yeah, so Gordinaak is it's mostly standalone. You pretty much don't need Mothership. There's no like SRD or anything like that, right? So like instead of just changing the language, trying to change the language to fit or whatever, I just said refer to the stuff in the other book for the stuff you don't need. And it's got mechs and 5 species and 4 playable classes, and it's like set on this like hostile planet that's sentient and wants you dead, but at the same time, like you guys are, yeah, it's fuel, it's blood is the fuel for the mechs and stuff like that. And there's gangs. It actually started as like my kitchen sink setting, and whenever I told somebody that I was working on a mecha western post apocalyptic cyberpunk setting, somebody was like, I well, actually, just nobody said anything because nobody wants to hear anything about that. They already they turn you off after the third like genre that you throw in there.
I may or may not have zoned out. I don't know.
Yeah, see, it happens, and I don't blame you because it was just bad. It was bad description. See, I'm still even bad at it, right? Like I'm still like waffling on how to even describe it, but yeah, it's like gang warfare on a hostile planet, on a planet that hates you. That's the big thing, right? Is it's and there's like a lot of ways you can go with it, right? Like I ran a kind of a West Marches style campaign with it, and most of it was the inter gang, the clan fighting, right? And that was the big part of it, right? um but also you can really lean into the cosmic horror of it, or you can lean into the alienness of it. It can go a lot of ways, or you can just take some of the shit out of it and put it in Mothership, right? Like you can you can just take that and play with it with Mothership or whatever. And I think I'm the first person who like kind of took Mothership out of the genre, out of the space horror one. And I think like more people are starting to like do shit with that now, which is cool too. So yeah.
Well, I mean, like I kind of think that this falls into sort of a broader conversation that I think that you're a part of now and going forward. And I think that's really, I mean, as somebody who's been playing RPGs maybe longer than you've been alive, I don't know, but there's there is I don't think it's ever been better than now, because what a lot of folks are doing, like yourself with like Troika and Mothership, is like kind of taking games that you love and then branching them off into places that you think are interesting and sort of taking them in your own directions. And I think what's kind of cool is that like a lot of the creators of these games are like, yeah, go for it. Like they're really supportive. Like the Troika, the Troika community is like really super strong. I think Mothership is, a lot of people really love Mothership as well. It's another one of those games that's kind of like a lot of people are making stuff for. And there's a lot of games that are like that now that are sort of like more indie games. And I sort of wonder how you sort of feel about that, because I mean, obviously now like Dungeons and Dragons is so popular, but for me, I'm like almost becoming more and more resistant to a game like that. I just want to, because there are just so many more other options out there to like do stuff that's more, I don't know, individualized or like in line with what my personal tastes are, rather than trying to, mold and manipulate a game like Dungeons and Dragons to fit what I want. You know what I mean?
Well, like I don't want to knock anybody out there who's like making new systems and stuff like that. It's all of that's cool, right? Like I whatever. But for me personally, like so many people have done so many things right? Like that I don't really feel the need to, like, there's something out there that can do the thing I want to do mentally with a little bit of tweaking. Right? Like, I don't think I have anything that's, the only thing I have that's like, um, my own mechanics is breakdance RPG on drive-through, and it's awful. Like, it's so bad, it doesn't work. Like, it's more of like it's kind of like an attempt at like liar dice or poker dice or whatever, or something. I don't know. Anyway, but I just think so many people. Yeah, I mean, you can just go and see what I have, what I do. I make breakdance, the RPG. But like, but so many people have done so much right, that I don't really feel the need to. And I've built like a lot of relationships with some of these people. I'm pretty close with Sean and Jarrett Crater, the editor on Gordinaak and on Mothership, and probably like half of the stuff that's on your shelf if it came from any of these indie producers. Actually, I go and Jared also lives down here. I've been over there to his house and stuff like that and play games, and like just everybody's done so much right that, but I have my own ideas and I don't think that anybody's done anything wrong, so like I just use their stuff, right? Because they're better at that thing than I am, and what I want to do, like I'm more of like a setting person, right? Like, or like I have like I don't think about math a lot. Like, like I don't do a lot of like, addition and subtraction, math.
Right. Well, I think what's interesting, and maybe that is kind of a part of like a lot of indie games, a lot of newer games and stuff like that, is I think that for so long, like games were so complicated, like the mechanics of it it was almost like kind of a badge of honor to have this like ultra complicated system that you were like kind of learning. And there was a lot of like math or tables or, all kinds of different stuff that almost was required to play the game. And I think that one of the things that I love about like games like Troika or Mothership or some of these other games is that, yeah, they have some, but they're like really, you can kind of just play the game. Like you don't need to like really read a 200-page book and completely comprehend. Like, for example, I ran Troika a couple of weeks ago, the Make Happy scenario, which is kind of a newer zine that's a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, I haven't even read all of the backgrounds in the Troika main hardcover book.
I don't know if I have either.
Right. And so, but like, it doesn't matter. Like I ran the game. Gretchen, you were in it. Did it seem like I didn't know what I was doing? You know what I mean? It was like, and so I think that's one of the things I love about a lot of these newer games, that sort of, you can play the game and you can even run the game and it can be really fun for you, like you and your friends, without it having to be like some sort of, you have to like learn some really complicated way of doing things. It's just really simple.
And I'll be honest, I mean, one of my things is I am so tired of having to learn new systems. And anytime I have to learn a new system, my brain just kind of checks out these days. And I probably do this really annoying thing. And Rob's usually the GM, what do I do? Because I don't want to remember it, because every new game has a different system and I hate it. So to just be able to jump in and start having fun and knowing, sticking with one particular system or having a system that is just so minimalist where you can just go is just, it's an absolute joy, because I cannot deal with learning another system.
There's so many. I don't know how many I have on. I keep telling myself that I'm not gonna buy anymore, and and to be fair, like I like games with some complexity too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Call of Cthulhu, Delta Green, like DCC, which has some that it's kind of easy, but then like it kind of builds in complexity. I had some of those games have. No, I'm not going to play Rifts anytime soon. Like, have you ever played Palladium games? It feels like somebody's making the rules up as you're playing, and they're like roll a d20. You're like, all right, sick. All right, and then they're like, all right, now percentile, and then you're like, what? And then they're like, okay, and now a d6, and then you're like, I don't know what's going on here. You just
every single thing in Rifts or any of the Palladium games, like literally everything has its own system. Like anything you do, so none of it is like it's all the same system and everything runs off of it. It's like it's almost like every single thing has its own separate mechanic. I mean, some people love that, and I will say, I play AD&D second edition every week. I play in a game, which is pretty complicated, and I run a second edition game and I love it. But I also love, like Gretchen said, where you can just kind of sit down and pick up a game and like just play the game. Like you don't have to really spend a lot of time, or that games that are, maybe you are learning a new system, but they'll be like, oh, so it's kind of like Fates in this way, or it's kind of like Troika in this way, or it's kind of like Mothership in this way, where you can just point to another system and say, okay, it's a little bit different, it's tweaking it a little bit, but you kind of know where the general idea is, where it's coming from, and you can just, it maybe take 5-10 minutes to make your character, and like, boom, you're right in.
Yeah, and I have like if I was gonna pick two games, it would be to take with me on like a desert island. It would be Troika and DCC, right? Like
Nice.
that's what I would pick, right?
Now, is the stipulation unlimited? Oh God, what is it called? Each thing
Like
has
modules,
Like
supplements,
modules.
everything?
Yes.
No,
Or-
I think my stipulation is like in my made up scenario about this, I would be writing my own content for the rest of my life until I died. Right?
Oh, God.
And,
That'll
I
keep
think
you
what would
busy.
happen. I think what would happen on a desert island if you were writing content alone is it would just get like it would be like you and your friends or whatever, right? And maybe nobody else is. I guess in my mental image, I'm the only one who writes the content too. I think it would just get worse and worse, right? Because there would be nobody else. You would have no peers to like. You would have nothing to read to get better. It would only be your stuff, right? And maybe even people are validating you, right? But then if somebody from the outside of the desert island reads it, I think that's what would happen.
It would be so obscure and so inside that like nobody would be able to follow along with what you're doing.
What the
Like,
hell?
Like, who knows if you could even speak English anymore after years and years on a desert island playing RPGs? I think somebody would immediately a mutiny. I think that would probably happen. They'd be like, "We're killing the DM, dude. He keeps killing my characters. We're killing him in real life."
Oh, that's so
You
funny.
hear that,
Well, look,
Rob?
yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I know. Gretchen threatens me about killing her characters all the time, and I'm like, I don't kill characters. The game kills characters. I don't. I'm not that way.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Whatever
then?
you have to tell her to.
Oh my God.
to
Well,
make her feel
and
better.
it's funny. We'll play games together too, and then like I tell you what, we're very friendly to each other and nice to each other.
Hold on a
games,
second. Wait a second, Gretchen. Are you not DMing too to exact your revenge onto Rob?
I know.
This is what has to happen. You have to, and see, like I ran ICRPG for the kids yesterday, and I put a timer on, and the world exploded. I killed my own kid's character. You can kill Rob, right? Like, it's no big deal.
I will run a game at some point. I just need to break the ice. I just need to
run Troika.
I know, it's easy. Well, so we played.
We could play right now, right? We could just all right. So you just say, all right, roll a d20. Rob rolls a d20, and then you just say, "Oh, you're dead. Your character's dead. Your character's dead."
Sorry,
oh no, and I'll be like natural 20. And you're like, well, you had to roll low for this one.
Yeah,
roll the one.
That's actually the worst results.
Yeah. Well, look, what are you up to next? I mean, this is, I think, like as I mentioned, you had a really successful Kickstarter earlier this year. Obviously, Cocaine and Alligators, getting picked up that's awesome news for you. I mean, it sounds like things are moving in a really nice direction for you. So what are you sort of planning? I mean, obviously you're playing a lot of games, but like, what are you kind of working on as far as as a developer and writer right now?
So I'm like really fucking busy. So right now specifically, so I'm freelancing full time. So I'm working on a board game right now. I'm doing the layout for the translations of a board game called Cryptic Explorers. I can't remember the names of anybody involved. I've just been knee deep in text and in design with that. Eventually, I've got an official Mothership pamphlet that I wrote with a friend of mine, Matt House, called Stardust Sands, coming out under TKG. We wrote that forever ago. And also I'm obligated. So I fucked up one of the stretch goals. I just like spaced on it. I have no idea why. Right. So I promised everybody to write a new adventure for Gordinaak, right, and do a new character sheet, and then also I make dice as well. So that's I'm trying to kick back into gear with my dank dice. It's like weed themed dice, right? It has D20 has a weed leaf on it. Yeah, I'm hella busy. Mostly that's mostly what's going on right now.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time to talk with us about your games. I mean, we love Cocaine Alligators. I'm so excited that you're going to get a print edition of it out there, and we will definitely pick up a print edition because I think that one might get quite a bit of use because I know that I really need to play the alligator with sunglasses soon. And now that I know aggressive farter is one of your favorite things you've ever done, I might just have to play that just as an homage to you and your creative effort.
Well, it has one of the most interesting stories too. The lady got called out for farting and she pulled a knife on the dude. So, yeah, that's what you do. Pull knives on people and fart.
How now if people want to Jeremy, if people want to learn more about you and your games and everything that you're up to, how can people find that information? Like where are you? What's the best way to sort of follow you and your games and everything that you're working on?
Gordinaak Games, most places, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, also Dank Dice 420 for dice stuff if you want some custom dice. And then Gordinaak.itch.io for any of the stuff that I release. I put little pamphlets and zines and stuff on there from time to time, and there'll be more stuff eventually, like soon probably. Actually, I think I have a release that I haven't put on there that needs to go up. It's one of the Kickstarter stretch goals that hasn't, so that look out for that too. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Lots
Yeah, and
going on.
Gordinaak, of course, although it was a Kickstarter, is now available. If I didn't make that clear, and it's on your itch site, so you can pick it up. And all of the stuff is really affordable too. I'll mention that. Gordinaak is $9. You also have Why Is There a Wizard's Tower in This Dump, which is only $1. Actually, I think you say it's literally the worst adventure ever.
Yeah, I'll just warn you right now, everybody. It's cursed. Don't buy it. It's a terrible idea. If anything that bad happens to you, and because you buy it, like it's your fault. Because I told you.
Rob,
Now I am
didn't
so
buy that,
intrigued.
Right? Don't
I have
buy
not
it.
bought that one. But I kind of want to because I like to tempt fate, but I don't know.
No, we don't want to tempt fate. I mean, the worst thing. I mean, our kid could just teeth forever. That would be.
Oh my
that
God,
would be the
dude.
worst. Come on,
Jeremy. You don't even know the day we had today was. Well, you have a kid, so you know.
Yeah, I have 6 kids, man.
Oh
so
my
I know
God, Lord
I know
Almighty.
exactly anything. My kid played with shit today. That was cool. Right here, actually. Right here. right fucking here. My kid, she's potty training. She pulled. I don't know exactly the sequence of events, but right here, it doesn't smell like shit in here anymore. But
Well, so this morning I took my kid out and I changed his diaper. I did all that, and we're like walking around, and I just kept smelling poop. I don't know. I just kept smelling it, and it was obviously on me somewhere. I could not figure out where it was, but I just smelled poop for like the first 30 minutes of my day, and so I had to change my clothes because I couldn't find the poop.
Just a shitty day, man. Just a shitty day.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we wish you nothing but the best. This is we love the games that you're doing, and I think we are going to pick up Gordinaak here. We'll have to keep in touch.
If you want to wait too, it's coming. Exalted Funeral has their copies. They're just soon. It'll be on their website soon. I imagine like within the next week or two. I can't promise that. I have no idea. I don't work there, but. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Jeremy. We appreciate it. All right. Well, thanks, Jeremy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Yes,
problem.
Thank you.
RPGs and Baby Makes 3 is a production of Gretchen and Rob sitting on their couch. Email the show at rpgsandbabymakes3@gmail.com. You can find more episodes on Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes, as well as on our free Patreon page at patreon.com/RPGs and Baby Makes 3.